I am speaking at Discovery Club today because our pastor Eric is at a ministry conference, and this morning as I was finishing up my lesson, God just put this story on my heart that I'm going to read to the kids. So I'm getting on here to practice reading it, and because I thought if you have a teenager or a middle schooler, this might bless them, this might bless you. So here is the story that I wrote this morning. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Sam. He was 11 years old and in the 6th grade at Crestwood Middle School. Every morning, his mom woke him up at 6 so he could brush his teeth and throw on his faded jeans and favorite Fortnite t-shirt. He also loved wearing his Crestwood High hoodie over that, so he wasn't chilly while waiting for the bus. Sam grabbed a Pop-Tart and gave his mom a quick hug. He walked outside to his bus stop. Once on the bus, he popped in his earbuds and listened to rap music all the way to school. He arrived at school at 7:29 a.m., like clockwork. His homeroom teacher, Mrs. Perry, was an older lady. She was nice to all the kids. They liked her, and she gave them a little freedom before the bell rang. Sam asked Mrs. Perry if he could go to the boys' locker room this morning. He had forgotten his favorite shorts yesterday. His mom didn't have a lot of money, and his dad was never around much. He didn't want to have to buy more shorts for Jim. When Sam walked into the locker room, Austin was standing there with a vape pen in his hand. Sam had known Austin for 2 years. He had moved to Crestwood High from Detroit. He was in the 8th grade and was often in trouble. As Austin reached the pen towards Sam, time slowed down. A million thoughts were rushing through Sam's head. He was curious about alcohol, drugs, and vaping. Mia, Sam's older sister, had told him that she had tried it a few times and it wasn't worth messing up his life. She had recently started going to youth group. Sam could see a change in Mia. She didn't yell at their mom anymore. She didn't take his things without asking. Sam stretched out his hand to take the pen. Just this once, he told himself, I need to know what this is like. As he breathed in the vapor, his throat felt tight. Austin had a strange look on his face now. Sam looked behind him and noticed Mrs. Coble was standing in the doorway. Mrs. Coble was one of the huge middle school's assistant principals. The boys were in trouble. Later that night, Sam lay in his bed looking up at the ceiling. He was grounded from all the things that provided him with entertainment and distraction. He felt a desire to run away from all of his pain and never come back. Just then, Mia knocked on his door. Hey there, bro, she said. Hey yourself, he said. Hey, I know it's been a rotten day, but I was wondering if you'd want to come to church with me tonight. We have youth group at 7. I've already asked Mom if you could go, and she said she thought it might do you some good. Sam let out a sigh. He surprised himself by saying, why not? Sam sat in the back row of the youth room later that night. Usually his thoughts were focused on what he didn't have and what he had missed out on in his life because of his dad not being around. Tonight started to feel different. He watched Mia in the second row smiling and laughing with her new friends. They looked kind and fun. He knew one of the girls on the front row used to be into sneaking out of the house late at night. Her name was Haley, and she had bragged about it once on the school bus. Now she sat there with her Bible in her lap, looking more at ease than he had ever seen her. When the youth pastor called her up, Sam sat up. He wanted to hear what Haley had to say. Haley talked about how she once walked in darkness. She said she was blind to her sin. She wasn't raised to go to church or believe in God or Jesus. Then a friend invited her to youth group and gave her a Bible. She said now she couldn't stop reading the words in the Bible. She read 2 Corinthians 5:7 to the group. It talked about being made new. This meant all of her mistakes and all of her sins that were committed in what she called darkness were forgiven to the point that they never even happened in God's eyes. She could now stand in the light of truth, unashamed. Sam was leaning forward in his seat by now. He could use a dose of forgiveness for his attitude toward his sister and his mom lately. He'd also like to get rid of the shame he felt. At the end of the service, the youth pastor prayed a prayer called the Prayer of Salvation, and Sam prayed along with him. His heart was lighter than it had been in a long time. When Mia and Sam got into the car to leave, he thanked her for bringing him to church. He knew he would still face temptation, fear, and even rejection. However, he now had a choice. He remembered the phrase the young pastor used as they were leaving youth that night. You were chosen, but you must choose. That stuck in his brain like super glue. The next morning, when Sam's mom woke him up, he smiled just a little. Today's a new day, he thought, and I've made my choice. Sam knew he didn't have to go to school alone. He finally had found the father he always wanted and needed, and he would be everywhere with Sam now. Maybe today, after in-school suspension, he'd ask Austin if he wants to go to youth next week. Yes, today will be a great day.